All right. What's good, everybody? Happy Tuesday. How you doing? Today, we're gonna be playing a little bit of Standard, and that's something that I usually try not to interact with too much. But I got medium interested in looking at the format earlier because this month for Mana Traders, the format happens to be Standard. And I understand that now, being the 20th of the month, it's a little bit too late to care about that specific tournament. But I still looked at the standard pool of cards that exists. Previously on the stream, we got to discuss the format, see what exists, and we came up with a few, I guess, tentative deck lists. But really, nothing clicked to me. Nothing was like, Dre, you should actually care about this format. But upon like a deep delve into the format, I remembered, hey, combat research is not just a pioneer card from Mono Blue Spirits. And there are some spirits in standard, as little as Lantern Bearer, but also Spectral Adversary. That's a card that I've played before in Pioneer, and realistically will probably play again. So how much of these things that exist in Pioneer could we actually get away with in Standard? And that brings us to Geistlight Snare, which is of course a standard legal card. Now that we have all of the pieces necessary to have the Spirits package, if you will, for just the Curious Obsession, put it on a spirit, protect it with counterspells, most of the best versions of those things already are here in standard, right? Like we already have a Curious Obsession effect, even if it's not actual Curious Obsession. We have a decent 1 mana flying spirit, even if it's not Mausoleum Wanderer or Spectral Sailor. And we have the best counterspell available to Pioneer. So where can we go with this? We decided to go ahead and play for Lantern Bearers 2 Delver of Secrets because there are a good number of instants and sorceries here. Well, just instants anyway. We've got Fading Hope, Shore Up, Slip Out the Back, Spell Pierce, Make Disappear, and then the Geistlight Snare. So this will flip roughly a third of the time, and that's not necessarily good enough for me to want to play 4, but I think 2's not a bad starting point for a card like Delver of Secrets. We also have a lot of protection here. 4 Slip Out the Back and 2 Shore Ups make it so that we have 6 ways of making sure that your opponent's removal are not going to touch our cards. We've got Spell Pierce, Make Disappear, and Geistlight Snare for a bunch of relatively cheap counter spells too. So if your opponent's trying to come at you with things like Liliana of the Veiled, Meathook Massacre, really any of that nonsense that Mono Black is playing, or any of the 45 other black decks, then we have a lot of counter spells to deal with those as well. The other creatures here are going to be Ledger Shredder, and somehow Ledger Shredder is actually the worst 2-drop that we have available to this archetype, so we're only going to be playing 2 of these. Most of the reason for this is because we don't want to play 2 spells during our own turn almost ever. So in this specific list, without cards like, say, Mishra's Bauble to help make Ledger Shredder connive a little easier, here we're really just looking to have a decent flyer that will connive sometimes, but has enough toughness to protect itself from cards like unprocced Voltage Surge, for example. We have 4 copies of Spectral Adversary, and this is good in this list for actually 3 reasons. Standard is slow enough to the point that the kicker is not irrelevant on Spectral Adversary, unlike a format like Pioneer, where we've played Spectral Adversary in the past, but really its key role was just as a 2-mana flash threat. Here, the kicker is actually pretty relevant sometimes. And, of course, being a spirit, it helps make your Geistlight Snare a lot cheaper, too. We've got 4 Storm Chaser Drake, and this is going to be the real highlight card of this. So if you go to equip a combat research onto a Storm Chaser Drake, bam, you already get to draw a card. If you protect it with a Shore Up or a Slip Out the Back, cool, draw another card. Even if you have to rescue your Storm Chaser Drake from a sweeper with a Fading Hope, you still get to scry and draw on the way out. So I think that's actually going to be a relatively sweet little piece of flying here. I like this card a lot, and truth be told, I've kind of been looking for an excuse to play it, and this seems to be it. We also, of course, have the 4 Geistlight Snares, and then a really simple mana base. Just 20 basic islands, 1 Otawara, job done. No longer need to think about that. For the sideboard, of course, being 1 color, we have limited options, but honestly, I'm not disappointed by the options we do have. We have 4 copies of Witness Protection, and this is already a card a lot of Mono Blue pilots are playing in Pioneer. The cool thing about Witness Protection, remember that it is an enchantment, which means that your Geistlight Snare is going to cost 1 less because you have this on the table. We have 3 copies of Disdainful Stroke, and this is going to hit a lot of the stuff in the format. It's going to hit like Meathook Massacres when they're greater than 1, it's going to hit cards like Shieldred, Invoke Despair, Notice that I'm naming a bunch of black cards because that really is what the format's about right now. But it's also going to be able to hit other things too, like Wandering Emperors, and well, I don't really know what else people are going to be playing, but Disdainful Stroke is going to have a lot of targets in this format. We've got 2 copies of Essence Capture, and this thing's primary target is going to be named Graveyard Trespasser. Of course, there are a lot of other creatures in the format that we'll see play, so Essence Capture will have a lot of jobs. But realistically, this thing just has Graveyard Trespasser's name all over it. 3 copies of Suspicious Stowaway are going to help a lot against any of the control decks that we see in the format because there are still a few reactive decks here. And I don't know that we need to go hard body enough against those to play cards like Negate or no, Test of Talents is not in the format anymore. But I don't really think that we need to go hard enough to play Negate, but I think Suspicious Stowaway might actually be pretty good. Especially remembering that combat research, because both parts of Suspicious Stowaway can't be blocked. So whether you're just looting with the 1/1 or true drawing with the 2/1, if you put a combat research on that thing, either way it's going to feel pretty good. We've got 1 copy of Unlicensed Hearse, and this is fine. There's going to be some stuff like Invoke Justice that you just really don't want to deal with any opposing graveyard shenanigans with. And to complement the 1 Unlicensed Hearse, we've got 2 copies of Cemetery Illuminator 2. And this is going to be another card that I like because the graveyard decks in this format aren't necessarily graveyard-only decks. Yes, the Invoke Justice deck is a huge example of that, but this will help against like Lord Windgrace, it'll help against Invoke Justice, and it'll just help against like miscellaneous decks that are trying to wear you out value for value, because playing cards off the top of your deck is not irrelevant at all. You know, you exile 1 instant from either yours or your opponent's deck, and all of a sudden you're playing your cool protection spells like Spell Pierces, Slips, Shore-Ups, stuff like that off the top of your deck instead of having to use them from your hand only. So that could be pretty relevant against a lot of decks that like to go longer. So we're going to go ahead and start off here. I think this deck will probably be best positioned in a best of 1 environment. So that's where I wanted to go ahead and kind of start here. And I'm hoping that this feels as good as it looks in theory. So I've played, I don't know, 2 games, 3 games so far with it. And so far it's been all right. So fingers crossed that continues to be the case. Ooh, we go first. I do like that. And we get to start off with a Lantern Bearer, Spell Pierce, Fading Hope. So now what I really want to draw is just going to be like a copy of Combat Research, right? So I can play this on turn 1. Maybe they play a tap land. Turn 2, I get to play a Combat Research and protect with Spell Pierce. That sounds absolutely lovely. So fingers crossed there. And our opponent's playing something black, and it looks like this is not going to be long for the world anyway. So, cut down? Is that what you drew, opponent? That has to be what you drew. Because, like, they're highlighting this, so I assume it's a cut down. It is a cut down, okay. So, I can either Fading Hope my own Lantern Bearer. I can let this happen. I think I'm just going to let it happen, because I want to untap and have Storm Chaser Drake with the Spell Pierce up, and then I can worry about Geistlight Snare later. So this won't be relevant until turn 4, but I think I'm okay with that. And I will happily Spell Pierce their draw engine. And I make this appear. Not great, not terrible. If I have to rescue Storm Chaser Drake, then I don't mind using the Fading Hope, because that will still let me scry and draw. Annoying, but happens. And they are going to choose Sacrifice mode. You got it. And yeah, I'm okay with that. So now we're going to play the same Storm Chaser Drake. We don't want to play the new one since they don't know what I'm holding. So here, I can slip out the back, protect this thing, draw a card for my effort, and then next turn, I can... I want to get rid of one of these, I believe. But which one? I think I'm going to get rid of the Geistlight Snare, because I'm not guaranteed to have a Spirit to go with it. They get rid of a land, okay. So now let's see what they have to do with this. And if the answer is nothing, then I get to just attack Liliana and finish her off, which is also pretty nice. So if this is going to be like, what, a Meat Hook Massacre for 2, that's pretty obnoxious. A Sarah Paragon will go uncountered for now because I can't do anything about that really. That's actually like worst case scenario, right? A Sarah Paragon's pretty bad. Wandering Emperor, I'm actually okay with. So if they want, they could just like make a, yeah, I was gonna say they could make a token and that's fine. A land is actually really nice here. So who do I want to finish off more? I think I want to finish off Liliana first. And do I want to play another Storm Chaser Drake? No, I think I want to hold up my 2 protection spells because here she should probably tick down here. I get to slip out the back and then protect with Make Disappear. I like that. And then starting next turn, I can like play this. I can enchant this to here and draw a card. I'll have some options starting next turn, so that feels okay. Especially if I don't actually have to use my Make Disappear. Okay, so we're going to protect here. Draw a card for our efforts. And there's another Wandering Emperor, which I get to cast Make Disappear on. And the Otawaras, I don't even think that's bad. So I will take the 2 here, but I've got a relatively sweet couple of turns here, I think, coming. Well, that's not so good. But let's... Oh, yeah, they're off it. Let's go. All right, well, that plays nice. Cool. So let's kind of keep that going. Yeah, we get stuff. Sweet. So let's go ahead and play our next round here. And I'm hoping to see really just like more of that, right? Like you want to have a threat established, lots and lots of protection its way, and then really just annoy your opponent as much as possible while getting yourself a shit ton of cards in a process. So let's do that. Another hand I am totally in for. And I think the cool thing about Ledger Shredder specifically in this deck too is that your opponent doesn't necessarily know it, but Ledger Shredder is not really... Oh my god, yes. Yeah, let's do that. That was an absolutely excellent draw, and I've got the Spell Pierce to protect it too. Okay. Yeah, that combat research was nice. Delver, eh. So let's draw and see what we get. A Slip Out the Back is really good, and here I actually am going to play the Delver. So the reason I want to play Delver rather than one of my 2 drops is because I have both Slip Out and Spell Pierce, so like this is maximum protected. Plaza of Heroes, ooh. Rafine, less ooh. Alright. So what do I want to draw here? I think I want to Slip Out the Back Rafine so that I am able to get my attack in with Lantern Bearer, and then I can draw a Fading Hope for this. The downside of that is that I make this a 2/5, which absolutely blows. I don't have to attack with this because combat research is not like Curious Obsession where it falls off if you don't attack. So it might just be best for me to just play the Spectral Adversary, see if my Delver flips, and then try to assemble some kind of offense from there. It doesn't. Okay. That's actually okay-ish. This is why we don't play more than 2 Delvers here. So I'm just going to do this and be a little bit sad about not being able to attack with this immediately. But I think this is still okay-ish. A Fading Hope for Rafine is ideal. Queso Coilos, okay. Oh, that's not going to be great for me. Ugh, she's got reach. Okay, so yeah. Okay, we might get beaten out by the fact that they have much, much bigger flyers and creatures with reach. So not really looking forward to that. Oof, man. Yeah, let's... Hello, this looks interesting. Hey, what's up, Matthew? Yeah, so far I'm having a pretty good time with this. I do... Yeah, let's untap. Ugh. This just in, Delver never flips. Nobody is surprised. Okay, so I'm going to chill for one more turn, see what they want to do here, and I can now kick the Spectral Adversary if they attack with Rafine and like don't resolve something else, right? So I can play this, kick it, phase Halana. Oh my god. Okay, opponent, you got me. Um, just mono flyers that are bigger than my deck. Understood. But that's one of the matchups where we had the essence captures and disdainful strokes and stuff in our sideboard, so that's where that would have come into handy. But best of one, it is what it is. So yeah, that was definitely interesting, is one way to put it. They put Plaza of Heroes to some real work there. But so far, against what a lot of the actual meta is doing, this has looked and felt pretty decent. Yeah, I'm in for this. So turn 1, I'm not doing anything here, which is fine. Turn 2, I've got the option of Make Disappear or Spectral Adversary, both of which I like on the play. So yeah, I'm in for that. And even that last game, if one of our spell pierces would have been Geistlight Snare instead, we do a lot better. So I'm not even that sad about that. Yeah, like this hand here would have been an absolute baller against our last opponent. Like the Fading Hope would have been really good against their 4-mana play. These two instead of Spell Pierce and Slip Out the Back would have been excellent against the bigger things. And then just like a threat's probably all we would have needed to help proceed there. Oh, that's cute. It's got like a little half smiley dead fish here it's playing with. That's kind of adorable. I'm a fan. Although I would like my opponent to kind of speed it up a little bit here. This is one of the only things that I don't necessarily like about live streaming, right? Because I can't just like edit out the parts where my opponent is doing absolutely nothing. I just kind of like gotta sit here and wait for him. It's so weird. Oh, hello, little dragon rhino. Triceratops thing. A griffin ceratops? I don't know. What are you? Hotshot mechanic cruise vehicles as if its power were 2 greater. Okay. So that means I'm probably looking at what? Something. Ooh, that's nice. Um, Something like Reckoner Bank Busters that this can equip, or what's the other 2-drop? Mech Titan something. Enlist, scry to discard indestructible. I don't care about that. Okay. All right, so here I get to put my combat research onto here. Now I've got Geistlight Snare and Fading Hope up. And let's draw a card. Boop. It's mono white. Oh, it's literally just mono white? Okay. And this doesn't care about the vehicle mechanic, then it's literally just a 2-1 for 1. Oh, they played Iganjo. That has to mean they have another one. I'm going to play my 2-mana counterspell here. So go away, Anointed Peacekeeper. You're the Meddling Mage card, right? Yeah. That's a pretty good draw. I like that a lot. Let's see what we draw to go with it. Okay, we draw another Geistlight Snare. I do like that. So now I've got lots of interaction for just 1 mana. And I don't think I'm going to block this turn. I think I'm going to give myself the opportunity to draw, like... You can catch that. All right, sick. So now that they have this as their turn sequence, I can go ahead and Fading Hope the 2-drop so that they have to reinvest a bunch of mana next turn for that. I'm going to scry that to the bottom. And now I'm winning the race instead of losing it. Ooh, now I'm really winning the race. All right, sick. So let's draw a card, play the land. Now I can Spectral Adversary, kick it, and play Geistlight Snare without sacrificing the use of Otawara. I'm totally in for that. Absolutely not. Get out of my face. I'm going to let them attack for 2 just in case. Okay, I was going to say because I don't want to accidentally walk into Portable Hole. Yeah, whatever. You can phase out, I guess. Another Storm Chaser Drake. We'll see if that's relevant. You go down to 5. I draw a card. Slip out the back is pretty handy. Another Aileen. Absolutely not happening. All right, sick. They're off it. Cool. I wish the games were that easy in Pioneer. To be fair, they're not usually that difficult in Pioneer, but they're not that easy. All right, let's play a little bit more. That was beautiful. Thank you, thank you. Right? Like, it's really nice just being able to tell Adolin to kind of go screw herself. Julian the Brain is our opponent here. I don't know. Jetmir's kind of cool. Yeah, I'm all right with this. Yeah, this looks pretty decent, actually. So the only, and this is not even like a real complaint, right? Like the only thing I want here necessarily is like 1 Fading Hope in case my opponent's on like, I don't know, Phoenix Chick deck or something similar. But I'll happily shut up and take this. Oh, you know what? Speaking of Phoenix Chick, I actually saw a really, really loaded to ground mono red deck for Pioneer the other day. And I'm kind of interested in jamming a little bit of that. What's that? Dreamroot Cascade, okay. Some kind of rug flavor deck, okay. So here I've got options. I can counterspell a Kiki Jiki, which is exactly what happens here. And a Ledger Shredder? I am going to play the Ledger Shredder. I've got a bunch of 1 mana interaction to help save it from stuff. And even if they play a Kikijiki here, we might be at the point where it's just a tad too slow to matter now because we got to stave off the first one. I mean, in theory, that's nice, but why are we using combat research? Do we have legendary creatures? No. So we're using combat research only because it does like a Curious Obsession impression where you get to draw cards. But we're playing standard, so there is no actual Curious Obsession in this format. So it's going to do 4 damage to this. So I'm going to go ahead and try to slip out the back here. And if they play a second card, then that's fine because I'm going to get to connive. Okay. So what I was going to say is that I would have gotten to connive if they play a second card, and then if they played a second card, they would have only had 3, and the Fire's Victory would have only dealt 3 to what is now a 2/4. So, oh, that's okay. Oh, yeah. For sure. Like, that's a good question, though, because, like, realistically, if there's no legends, then, you know, you don't really get to have, like, the extra benefits. But here, the drawing cards is the benefit. Okay, not bad. So now I've got a Slip Out the Back, a Shore Up, and a Spectral Adversary, all of which I kind of like here. And now, if my opponent wants to once again try to get rid of this, they have to work a lot harder to do so. So I'm hoping they don't have some big giant 5-drop flyer because I currently can't answer creatures. We're very good at answering spells right now, though. That's actively pretty decent. So let's go ahead and try to get an attack in. And now we're feeling pretty good about the number of cards. So I'll play the Storm Chaser Drake because I still have access to these, and then I will chill on the Spectral Adversaries until next turn. Flame Blessed Bolt. Let's cast the Slip Out the Back here. Man, that is nuts. So many cards. So, Abrade. Okay, so let's go ahead and connive here, get rid of the land. Abrade, I am actually just going to let happen to this. Because I only have one more protection spell, and I don't want them doing anything to this. So what do I want to get rid of here? I think it's just going to be the combat research, because I want the land so that I can make these good, and I have the ability to play around Fires of Victory kicked because they're going to be drawing a third card for their hand, and then Fires of Victory, I guess, would be able to deal 4 damage if they find a way to draw one more card. So let's do this, make this a 3/5. Oh yeah, so another thing too, while I'm waiting on them to take their turn. So the reason I'm playing Slip Out the Backs first and not Combat Research, and not Shore Up, is because if they start playing cards in the middle of my turn, but before I get to start attacking, right? Like, for example, here in Made Phase 1. If I Slip Out the Back and Slip Out the Back resolves, then I don't get to attack because it's phased out. Shore Up is just hexproof, so I can still attack just fine. So that's why I'm doing it specifically like that. Here, however, if they have like just another spell, since I only have one, I'm not going to have a choice in the matter. But I can still give myself the best chance to play for the correct removal spell. Big score to draw 2. I can't do anything about that. Okay. So now I get to draw another Shore Up. That's actually pretty nice. They discarded Disdainful Stroke. Okay. That makes sense. That card has basically no text here. Is Coma legal in the format still? The 6/6 that makes 3/3s? Is that still in Standard? Or did that leave? Maybe this is just like a Titan of Industry. Burn down the house. I mean, that's not cool. Alright, so I guess I'll just make this a 3/6 then. Or I guess a 4/6. Oh my god, I didn't look at the mode. They made devils. They made devils. I got. I'm so bad. Alright. Didn't even consider it. I'm still going to play one of these, though. Oh. Alright. I will get rid of the Lantern Bearer. Alright, sweet. Oh, that's funny. I just automatically assumed they were playing on the mode to solve the problem I was presenting, and then they just made devils. Oh, that's really funny. Alright. Let's play a couple more of these. Oh, that is... like, I totally played myself there. And then I guess after this, we can move to a couple of best of 3 matches to see if the deck kind of performs the same in post-sideboarded games. I go first. Wow, that's nice. That's nice. So I got a 1-drop Spirit and the enchantment and this to protect it. I am all the way in for that. And here, if they want to play like Cut Down or something on this, even that's not the end. Oh, never mind. And a Spell Pierce to boot. Sick. Another Plaza of Heroes. Thalia! You betrayed me, my favorite girl. Alright. Let's attack. Oh, this is not going to end well, because they're just going to play like a Rafine, right? And Rafine stonewalls this. So maybe you are the thing that makes zombies. I'm okay with that. Granted, that card is not bad at all, but yep. I will happily flip that and hopefully let it counter Rafine. So let's attack for 4 and draw a card. They're off it. Woo! Let's go. Oh, hey, with the sweet rank up too. Alright, cool. So now we can slide over to some best of 3s and see if it really performs the same. Blah, blah prizes. And we're going to swap to best of 3 with the same deck. and really just kind of see if it, you know, performs the same with post-boarded games. So in the post-boarded games, against a lot of these decks, we'll get cards like Witness Protection and Essence Capture against the creature decks. We have things like the Cemetery Illuminators and Disdainful Strokes against the decks that want to go long. So I feel like we still have a pretty good chance in these best of threes. And we start with the Ornery Ocelot, which that is actually kind of a cool username. I like that. All right, so what do we got going on here? I've got a Ledger Shredder that I don't care about that much, and then Storm Chaser Drake and stuff that I do care about. Spirited Companion, okay. Can't do much about that. You got it. So how do I combat an opponent playing Liliana here? I think the answer is wait a turn? Yeah, I think the answer is just wait a turn. Because, like, if I walk myself into a Liliana, right, then I'm down at least one card for effectively no reason. So here, I'll just go ahead and play the Storm Chaser Drake with the intent to protect it with Slip Out the Back. And here, if they Liliana tick down, I can just Slip Out the Back. Welcoming Vampire. Fuck, that's cool. I mean, I'm mad because I can't do anything about it, but, like, that doesn't make it less cool. Not attacking with Spirited Companion. Okay, not bad, opponent. So I assume my opponent's trying to play around something like Shore Up, which would have made this a 3-2. So I actually think that wasn't bad by the opponent. So what I'm going to do here is... Oh, no. If I play Ledger Shredder, I can't play Geistlight Snare. So instead, I am just... Oh, God, Jesus, no. Go. So here I have the option to Geistlight Snare something, plus Slip Out the Back and protect this. I can Spectral Adversary, and... yeah, that's fine. So I can Spectral Adversary and Geistlight Snare here. So let's see what they want to play. Are they just going to, like, jam a Sarah avatar down my throat? Or whatever the Sarah Angel's called? Paragon. Sarah Paragon. You know, this is probably a card I should be considering playing too, because I did get to talk about it a little when the spoiler season happened. What do I want to do here? I think I'm gonna just Geistlight Snare, Slip Out the Back so that this is bigger, and then worry about the rest later. So I get to do this, draw a card, and now it's a 3-2, so if they want to swap the Welcoming Vampire with this, then I'm actually okay with that. Yeah, let's actually offer the trade. Oh, no trade. Okay. Now I guess I'm gonna just Spectral Adversary here. And I'm technically wasting a mana by doing so, but I think I'm okay with that. Ooh. Yeah, point a removal spell at this. Alright, so now I'm going to get the Spectral Adversary and kick it to protect the Storm Chaser Drake. I like that. Nice Rite of Oblivion, opponent. Meat Hook for 0, you got it. That does make sense, though. So here I'm going to Combat Research here. Alright. Worth doing once, worth doing twice. And a Slip Out the Back will protect from Flashback Rite of Oblivion? Hell yeah, let's go. So now we get to draw 2 more. And a Fading Hope can put this Welcoming Vampire away. Yes! Let's absolutely go for that. So they go to 11. They can sacrifice... Oh. Well, won't say that doesn't suck. So I can sacrifice Spectral Adversary and 1 Combat Research, and then they get to draw 1. I can also just Fading Hope this too. So let's do that. Go away. I don't want that. Creature. Enchantment. And yeah, you can have your life. All right. So here I'm just going to play a Spectral Adversary, not kick it, because I already have to slip out the back, so I'd rather just develop the threat, and then, yeah, exactly, and I was going to say, and then just make their life a little miserable. So that was absolutely sweet. And what do I want here? I want... I think I want the Cemetery Illuminators, because this is going to be a deck that's going to go a little bit long. I want Essence Capture, because I do suspect that Sarah Paragon is in this deck. And of course, I want the Disdainful Strokes. So the little part of the deck, the Welcoming Vampires, the Spirited Companions, honestly, I think those are kind of whatever. What cards do I not want here? I think I don't particularly want Fading Hope, because yes, they have the Welcoming Vampire, but my assumption here is going to be that almost all, if not all, of their creatures have entered a battlefield value. So I don't really know that I want to be using Fading Hope to kind of re-gift them that value. Ledger Shredder is kind of mid. Again, this is not a Ledger Shredder deck. Ledger Shredder just happens to be like an accidentally good threat. And remember, I'm not exactly lessening the number of threats in a deck either, because I am putting in Cemetery Illuminators. And I think I want one fewer copy of a protection spell. And I think it's gonna be Make It Disappear. Because remember, I am putting in more counter spells. And for Geistlight Snare, I am also putting more spirits in the deck too. So this will cost one just a little more often than it would have before. So yeah, let's play like this. Although, I won't lie and say opponent's deck's not pretty cool, because it is. Well, that's an easy mull, and that's an easy keep. So here I want to just move this away, and on the draw, I'm a little more likely to see a land. Yeah. Never didn't have it. All right, go ahead, opponent. Oh, this card's really good. I am almost jealous of how good this card is. Okay, I'm not going to Essence Scatter that. Or Capture, whatever. So here I'm going to play my Storm Chaser Drake, and I can protect it with a Shore Up. If they play exactly Liliana, I think I will still Shore Up. But I do kind of need exactly one more mana here to kind of get around either Sarah Paragon or, I don't know, Wandering Emperor or something. What's this? What are we looking at? A Rite of Oblivion. All right, so let's shore up again. And if they have another removal spell, that sucks, but at least I got to draw a card. Ooh. That's fine. So now what can I do? I can play Cemetery Illuminator and get rid of this. I can just combat research once. No, I can combat research twice. So let's do this. Draw a card. Do I want to play the Lantern Bearer or another combat research? I'm going to attack first and see what happens. I'm going to pass because I want to be able to both Essence Capture / Geistlight Snare. No, I don't have that option, so I'm going to play the Lantern Bearer. I can only play one protection spell anyway, so I might as well get my additional card on the table. Oh, this also costs 1 now, which is nice. So I do hope they play a creature instead of trying to play either this or an Invoke Despair. Like, if they play a Sarah Paragon, that's close to optimal, because when I Essence Capture and target this, I get to draw a card and get a +1. Hell yeah, that counts. God, this Drake is so busted. Alright. Now the world is kind of our oyster. So I get to Cemetery Illuminator, get rid of the Rites of Oblivion, and realistically, I should have actually played, I should have, like, drawn my card first. But so far, I'm certainly not complaining. Like, I have both Geistlight Snare and Spell Pierce for 1 mana apiece. I've got Essence Capture in case of some big stupid creature play. So overall, pretty happy. Pretty sure they're going to use Extraction Specialist to bring stuff back. Yeah, and that's another reason to, I'll block here. And that's another reason to, you know, not want to walk ourselves right into, any graveyard shenanigans. That's another reason Cemetery Illuminator is pretty good, but also a little bit of why I haven't been like aggressively blocking these Spirited Companions, even though I know they have Rites of Oblivion, because Extraction Specialist can just like bring this back for extra value, and that's one of the few ways they actually can catch up in the game. Why would I give them a reason to be able to catch up in the game? So we're going to start with Geistlight Snare since they only have 2 mana. Hey, how you doing today? All right. So now I get to exile in instant. So I'm going to look for an instant. I do have one. Perfect. Because post-combat, I'm going to be able to play a... I will cast nothing this turn. So if they have another Meat Hook where X is 4, that's pretty obnoxious. I'm at 8. They go to 17. Wedding Announcement is actively a little obnoxious. Okay. Currently in Diamond 3 for Historic rank. Trying for Mythic for the second time. Ooh, nice. I certainly believe that is an attainable goal. Good luck. Okay. Cemetery Illuminator's also pretty decent off the top here. So we're going to start by playing the island. Let's get our attack in for 6. I want a creature. This way I can play my other Cemetery Illuminator off the top here. Oh my god, it's a Disdainful Stroke too? That's very good for us. Sick. Nice. Just doing Boros aggro? Well, that actually makes a lot of sense, because, like, I think the deck is not only actually good, but if you're only working with, like, you know, a certain amount of time, it's pretty good to be able to play these really fast, sweet decks, too, because you can, like, I don't know, do your dailies in probably less than an hour. I don't know how often you play Magic, but I think I actively like the idea of playing more aggressive decks when you're trying to rank up. Great deck. Thank you. Yeah, right? It's feeling really nice. It's feeling really good so far. So I think this is going to be probably the last best of 3 match I play with this right now. Although I will not lie and say it doesn't feel absolutely great. I try to play daily. Okay, okay. If I'm being honest, that actually means you play more Arena than I do. But it's still pretty fun. Also, I don't know. I like Thundering Raiju a lot. Like, that card just feels really good. All right. All right, let's go. Cretus, what you got for me? Ooh. And, ooh. All right, I'm in for this. There's something I want Arena to change, but they probably won't do it. What is that? I love this game board. I wonder if I can, like, choose to play on this game board all the time. Is that an option on Arena? Can you, like, choose the game board you want to see? Or is it always random? Cascade, okay. So let's go ahead and pass the turn. We have our flash threat. We've got some counter spells. All in all, not mad at this. So let's see if they have, I don't know, like a Fading Hope or something. Looks like the answer is no, so now we get to kind of go off here. It's random. Boo. Okay. But now we have near infinite interaction. Wedding announcement. I would like to spell pierce that. And we draw another threat, which is really good for us. And an island to go with it. Sick. So now we can still play 3 whole pieces of interaction. I am totally in for this. Another wedding announcement meets another spell pierce. And since they're not playing black, I'm not super worried about, like, Liliana, for example. I've got my Geistlight Snare, and hopefully our Delver flips. Nope. Oh, fair enough, they're off it. Never in the history of ever has a Delver of Secrets flipped. Okay, so what cards could they be playing to go with those wedding announcements that we saw? I don't want to just say no sideboard, so I'm going to side out Fading Hopes here with the assumption that they're just playing value cards. So let's play Essence Capture, and I'm not going to play Cemetery Illuminator against this deck because I assume most of the removal is going to exile. So instead, I'll play around Wandering Emperor and other big planeswalkery things like Titans of Industry. And if that's not what they're playing, then okay, so be it. But I'll give ourselves a chance to play around like Titan of Industry, Workshop War Chief, Wandering Emperor, stuff like that. And this hand feels pretty good, especially if they have something like that. The ability for multiple ranked systems. For example, you can be in Diamond and Historic, but Platinum and Explorer. Oh, that's fair, because right now the only system like that we have is Limited versus Constructed. So I guess that makes sense. So let's get an attack in here. I already can't counterspell a whatever that stupid wedding announcement. Yeah, wedding announcement. So instead I'll just play my Ledger Shredder and make them deal with my threats. And if borrowed time, that's fine. Like, that is medium annoying, but I don't know if I actually care about that. I want to attack here, and I can Storm Chaser Drake, hold Slip out the back, or I can hold up a combination of Disdainful Stroke, Essence Capture, giving myself the opportunity to hold up 4 mana for this next turn. I think I would rather hold up Slip out the back. This way, if they deal with my Storm Chaser Drake, and I have Slip out the back, then I get to draw a card for my efforts and do all the good stuff. Also, I get to conserve 4 mana for next turn. What do? At the beginning of your end step, you can pay X to draw X, where X is the amount of life you've gained. Annoying, but happens. Okay. So let's get an attack in for 3, because I'm not blocking Deshana anyway. And let's see what happens from here. It sucks when your opponent's doing well in Historic ranked, but don't want to deal with stuff like Soul Warden, your deck starts doing bad in Explorer, and your rank progress goes away. I mean, I guess that's kind of fair. Like, I don't know, I would probably Adenic. I will Essence Capture targeting Storm Chaser Drake, so I get to draw a card. Yeah, that feels pretty good. And I understand that it has Disturb and can come back, but like... Oh, and they get to like... Oh my god, they get to draw 3? That's kind of insane. I guess I could have Slip out the back target this to prevent that, but like... Ooh. Oh my god. I think we're actually keeping up in cards, yeah. That is hilarious. They just have a creature that lets them Ancestral Recall, and I think we're actually going to be able to keep up on card parity here. 1, 2... Okay. So now I've got the option of Slip out the back here at least twice. And I will do that because I have Disdainful Stroke still to deal with most things. Another Slip out the back in case they want to have Borrow Time again. I don't hate it. And if they try to flashback Denick here, I can just... Oh, did it cost 3, not 4? Oh, it's still a 2 converted mana cost card. I just have... Okay, okay. Aw, you're late. I think we might be going to a game 3, yeah. So let's bounce this with the intent to draw a few cards here. So that means that in the future, I just like don't actually care about Dennek here. Exile one thing, so I guess I'm just gonna Geistlight Snare this to keep my Storm Chaser Drake alive. Again, I don't really want to slip out the back just in case because I won't get to draw my cards for combat research. So let's draw one draw. Ah, boo. Yeah, pass. So if they cast Dennek, this time I just let Dennek slide. Ren and 7. That's gonna be really good. Crap. So now I get to just make a giant reach asshole. What is he, a 7? Yeah. Oof. I think it's probably appropriate to move to game 3, but let's... let them draw 2, phase out the tree token, kill Ren and 7, and see what I draw on the untap? That's... it's not optimal. A Spectral Adversary is not the worst. Ugh, yuck. I'm not going to get to draw cards here. I can Spectral Adversary, kick it once, hold up Disdainful Stroke. That's not the worst. It's not good, but it's not the worst. Just once is good. Denied a lifelink if they want to attack and take me down to 4. I'm actually kind of okay with that. And hopefully I can actually counterspell something relevant here. That counts as something relevant. Do they have a counterspell back? If so, we can move it on. Okay, no they don't. Make Disappear is actively kind of terrible here, if I'm being completely honest. Let's attack with just this. Oh, what are we doing? Oh, Beseiju. That's fine. So I still get to draw 1. A Spectral Adversary is actually kind of good now because I can Spectral Adversary, kick it twice, get rid of both of these, and still hold up Make Disappear. And I don't really care if I have to Make Disappear getting rid of this to counter a good spell. Yeah, that seems alright. And that also happens to be exactly 10 damage too, so yeah, let's do that. Autopay once, autopay twice, and we're done doing that. So phase out, phase out. That certainly counts as something I am willing to get rid of. Because that can find borrow times and or creatures with reach. Yeah. Casualty, get rid of this. So now it's counter this unless you pay 4. And if they have exactly a borrow time in their hand, they don't. Nice. I am going to play around Iganjo by Lantern Bearing this and looking for a Shore Up. We don't find it, but we looked for it. Okay. Still drawing, still looking for Shore Up. Finding Shore Up, let's go. Oh, and it wasn't Iganjo anyway. Sick. Oh man, that was sick. Alright. Cool. So that was a nice little run for the deck for sure. Like, that looked really good. So let's go over here to standard. Okay. So I guess a little bit of an overview here. I definitely liked this. Your deck is probably annoying to deal with. Yeah, I feel like that's mono blue in most iterations of the deck. Like, mono blue is just an annoying ass archetype to deal with as a whole. So I would definitely change one huge thing here, and that's going to be Delver of Secrets. And I actually know what card I want in here. Network Disruptor. Here it is. So when Network Disruptor enters the battlefield, tap target permanent, a 1 mana flyer. I have a similar deck in Explorer that flashes fairies. I know the one that says whenever you draw your second card for the turn, you draw one. I think it's called Fairy Vandal. Yeah. So you have like this, you have Brazenbower. What else does a fairy deck in Explorer even play? Um, but yeah, I think I like this as an effect much, much more than Delver, even if it can never be a 3-2. Because like the tap target permanent is pretty relevant against these big giant blockers, right? Like I can tap down things like the Halana and Elena that we saw earlier. We could tap down things like Rafine that are blockers, that big ass tree token that we had to deal with earlier. Um, I might even play 4 rather than the Ledger Shredders. That sounds a little bit like, I don't want to go so far as to say heresy or anything like that, but like I actually think I want to make that change. So now I've got 8 1-drops to play the combat researches on, and one that proactively taps blockers to get your attackers through. Yeah, that feels really good. Hypnotic Spray. Oh, that's a good one. I like that card a lot. Yeah, I think I like this a lot better. Because, like, I wanted to play Delver just on the premise of it being a more powerful card, the same as Ledger Shredder. But to be honest, I don't know that this doesn't just fit the deck better as something that always flies for combat research and proactively taps down blockers. Or it can even tap down mana in case I want to play around removal or counter spells a little better. I mean, that part's not as good on a card that doesn't have flash, but like, getting rid of blockers is still pretty freaking good. Yeah, I'm in for this. But yeah, overall, honestly, as we saw, pretty satisfied with what we had as far as the archetype goes as a whole. Like, we did lose to the person who played basically mono giant flyers, and you know, Plaza of Heroes is cool enough to enable all of that. So if that's what we run across, that's what we run across. But all of the things that did things that we kind of expected, we were still able to overcome. Like, we got rid of like resolved Rafines and stuff. We got to get rid of lots of Meat Hook Massacres, Cut Downs, Lilianas, Wandering Emperors, all the really good cards in a format. We showed that we have a ton of game against all of those things. So I am really satisfied with the way this worked out. We had the counter spells here, and I think I like all of the counter spells that we had in the numbers that we had them in. Maybe I can understand swapping out like one Make Disappear for like one more Shore Up, but to be honest, I don't think I want to do that because we wanted to get rid of things like the Lilianas, the Wandering Emperors, all of those things. And Shore Up doesn't really get any kind of say about those, but Make Disappear, even as a 2 of, is still pretty good against that. And the fact that this can counter unless they pay 4, like a Lofty Denial can, well, as we saw, it comes up against a lot of these decks that want to go slightly longer. Our sideboard, we didn't really have an excuse to use Witness Protection, seeing as we didn't play against any, like, you know, hyper aggressive decks in our best of 3 games, but we only played 2 of those matches, so that's kind of whatever. Disdainful Stroke was clearly really good. Essence Capture, this might make it into the main. Um, Essence Capture drawing a card with Storm Chaser Drake is like actually absurd. Like, that is one of those interactions that like I didn't realize until I started playing the deck, and then is when I drew the card, it was like, wait a minute, this does something else too. Um, that was really sick. Suspicious Stowaway, this might have to leave the sideboard, to be honest. So my thought process is that Suspicious Stowaway is going to be really good against any of the slower control-y type decks here. But in practice, I think a lot of people are already playing things during their turn or planning to a lot of the time for 2 reasons. First of all, the counterspells just like aren't that good unless you're playing something like this. Like, there is no such thing as like Absorb, for example, in Standard. But also, Graveyard Trespasser already exists, so people are already playing around day-night cards. And I don't really know where I guess I would want this, so maybe the answer is that I don't want this. I could probably get rid of Suspicious Stowaway for like one more essence capture and then two of something else, and to be determined on what that something else would be. But this is just like the first card that I had thought of. Unlicensed Hearse, I think I like. Cemetery Illuminator, this card rocks. Um, yeah, yeah, this was just like really solid times all around. So what I'm gonna do here is go ahead, take a little bio break, come back with coffee, water, and then I think we can move to Modern for a little bit because, to be honest, haven't gotten to play Spirits for some time in Modern, so I would like to do that with you guys as well. So give me like 5 minutes. When I come back, we can go ahead and talk about Modern Spirits, what I would do with that, and then we can jump into a league for that as well. So I will see y'all in a little bit. All right, and back. Let's turn me in the right direction first. I love how it always does that. There we go. So, now that I look like I fit in our current 3D universe, let's talk about this Azorius Spirits list and I guess where the format's gone. And then, of course, we get to play some matches of this too. So, here, what we're looking to do is, of course, combat what the format is doing, as always, by playing spirits and a bunch of disruptive stuff to kind of get around what the format looks like it. So let's look at modern, and remember that it's never complete data that you get when you look at things like Goldfish or like MTGTop8.com, but this is still the data that we have access to. And we're going to swap to the last 14 days or so. This way we have more relevant information for recent times. So at the top here, we've got Murktide Regent, Hammer Time, Burn. All three of these are going to be having a lot of, I guess, lower to the ground, more, more creature-based strategies, right? Like this is going to attack with Rag, Starseed, Ledger Shredder, and of course Murktide Regent. Hammer Time's just going to have a bunch of smaller creatures that has Colossus Hammer on it. Burn plays Goblin Guide, Eidolon, stuff like that. So all three of the top 3 decks in the format are currently creature decks, which is kind of hilarious because, the meme is that, oh, well, because of a lot of the pitch elementals, you're not really allowed to play creatures in Modern. And we can see that that is very, very patently false. Granted, I think it is still going to get a little bit, it's going to be a little bit of a hard time to necessarily get away with playing things like, 3-mana 2/2s, but that is what we're going to be trying to do today. Next up is going to be the Money Pile 5-color Omnath deck. We've got Creativity up here. Rakdos Midrange, which I think is the name for Scam. Yes, it is. Okay, so they play for Grief, and then they play things to get it back, like Undying Malice. Okay, so that's Red-Black Scam. Rhinos living in the 2 Cascade decks. Amulet Titan and Death Shadow. Okay. So now that we know what we're looking to fight against for the most part, we can see what we actually have as far as tools go. So we're going to be playing Giver of Runes in this build, and this is a card that I've liked for honestly a really long time. So like it basically does a good Mother of Runes impression here, where it also happens to be a 1/2, which is super relevant against cards like Wrenn and 6. So we get to play Giver of Runes, protect all of our threats here from all of the creature removal that's going to be in Modern, because there is a bunch. Luckily, Spirits happens to be one of the best decks in the entire format, if not the best deck in the whole format, at protecting your creatures against removal. We have things like, of course, Rattle Chains. We've got 2 copies of Kira, Great Glass Spinner, and a lot of decks will play just 1 copy of Kira. I'm choosing to play 2 because there is a fuck ton of removal. Against Hammer Time, we've got 4 copies of Skyclave Apparition and 4 copies of Shacklegeist. So if your opponent's looking to just kind of suit up 1 creature and kind of go for a kill, that's going to be a pretty tall ask unless they're like on the play and have it all on turn 2. Exactly. We also get Draw Skull Captain to go along with our Rattle Chain, so our creatures are going to be really well protected, right? Like we have Givers, Rattle Chains, Draw Skulls, Kiras, and 2 copies of Force Negation. So this is going to help against a whole bunch of decks, right? Like if you have to tap it for 3 mana against like Living End and Rhinos on your own turn, that's fine. But these provide a pretty nice complement to your Mausoleum Wanderers and your Spell Quellers. So your opponent's going to have kind of a bitch of a time trying to resolve a lot of spells against us. And that's really one of our strong points and has been for a long time. Our lands, relatively simple stuff. I haven't really needed to change these in a while. We've got some lands that go ahead and get you some blue sources and white sources. So we've got a couple of Haldo Fountains, 2 islands, a basic plains here, 1 each of Otawara and Iganjo. We're playing all 4 copies of Cavern of Souls. Painless lands are just good anyway, especially against stuff like Burn, which is near the top of the format. But also, like, there's real counter spells in the format. Like, we saw Indomitable Creativity, which can sometimes play counter spells. Grixis Death Shadow will play cards like Drown in the Lock. 4-color Omnath plays actual counter spell. So does Murktide Regent. They play actual counter spell and Archmage's Charm. So Cavern of Souls is going to have a lot of jobs here. More painless mana. And then 2 copies of Moorland Haunt. This card is so good. I'm telling y'all right now, the minute we get Moorland Haunt into Pioneer, I'm instantly switching to blue-white Spirits in Pioneer. It's what it is. Our sideboard here, we're going to have 3 copies of Forge Tender, which are really good against Fury, which are good against basically the entire Murktide Regent deck. and also burns near the top of the meta, and we don't want to deal with that shit. Almost everything else here can be played for free, this entire part of the sideboard here. Chalice of the Void on 0 helps a lot against the Cascade decks, Rhinos and Living End. Chalice on 1 helps against the removal decks, like Death Shadow and Murktide Regent. This also blocks Rags, so yeah. We've got 3 copies of Solitude here, because once again, as we saw, the top 3 decks of the format are all creature-based strategies, so we just don't really need to deal with that. Also, the lifelink helps a lot against all 3 of those decks. An additional copy of Force Negation lives here, 3 copies of Subtlety, and this will help honestly against a whole lot of stuff. Its primary target in the top 10 of the format here is going to be named Primeval Titan, but there's going to be a lot of other uses for Subtlety as well. And then complementing all of that is going to be 2 copies of Lavinia, Azorius Renegade. This will help a lot against things like 4/5 color Omnath, because they try to play cards like Fury, like Solitude, to get rid of our creatures, and if we have a Lavinia, that's not really an option for them. Against things like the Primeval Titan deck, this will help to counterspell any copies of Summoner's Pact they try to cast because it costs 0. It'll help against if we run into, say, a Tron opponent, because they can't play really anything in their deck unless it's creatures after they have assembled Tron. So it's going to be a pretty big help against a lot of decks, and I'm looking forward to this. Also, this accidentally counters Archive Trap, which was really more of a happy accident than anything else. So if you find yourself against Mill, that's pretty good here too. So that's going to be our list here. And yeah, let's jump right into a 5-match league. As we're doing so, my deck is a bunch of fairies. Most of them have flash and some delvers, then it's counter spells, bounce spells, and card draw. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, so you're doing like basically a lot of the spirit stuff, except instead of like Spell Queller, for example, which also doesn't exist on Explorer, but whatever. But instead of that, you're playing Hypnotic Sprite. I can get behind that. You know what's actually really funny? That's probably really good with ninjutsu creatures too, right? Because like you can basically do a lot of the same things that your fairy deck wants to do in Pauper, where your opponent plays a spell, you cast a counter spell on Hypnotic Sprite, you can cast Hypnotic Sprite, and then later on you can like attack with the sprite. It doesn't get blocked because it has flying. You can put in like a Moon Circuit Hacker, draw a card for that, and then you have your counter spell from Hypnotic Sprite up again. That sounds all right. I can get behind that. All right, so let's see if we can get an opponent at some point soon, because y'all know how it goes. I don't want peace, I want problems. Hmm. 1,300 active Modern players. Wow, that's a little surprising that there's that many people who want to play Modern right now. Like, I mean, I think it's kind of a skewed experience though, because when you talk about Modern, really, if you look at the Twitter part of the internet, Twitter absolutely hates Modern because they think it's a really stale format, right? A lot of the people who are talking about Magic on Twitter are generally people like myself who are either like streaming things and therefore generally only see like the best players play for the most part, or you're playing like RCQs where people are ultra tryharding. So it's probably a bit of a skewed experience, and those people really tend to, oh no, I don't want a 5-lander. I mean, this is a good 5-lander if I need to have a 5-lander, but I don't want to have a 5-lander. And this is not good, but it is better. So I guess I will keep this, put back one of the 2 spell quellers, and then really just kind of try to go from there. Yeah. So upside to this, my opponent did mulligan, and since I have Iganjo, literally any land I draw will allow me to cast my Skyclave Apparition too. Darksteel Citadel, so we're probably playing against just like affinity, like actual affinity. So we don't need to have that. A Rattlechains is actually a pretty good draw. I do still want a copy of a, let's see. I still want like another land, of course, so I can cast this. Whoa. 2 Darksteel Citadels into a Patchwork Automaton, which has Ward, so I can't really do anything about that. Upside is that at least I have flying, so like it's not as bad as it could be, but like this thing can get really big really fast. I kind of want Moorland Haunt to be my land if this is what they're going to be playing. And I'm not doing anything about Memnite. You got that. Oh, okay. All right, this is what we're doing. So I can get rid of the Frogmite if I draw a land for Skyclave. Oh, and I do draw exactly that. Well, that's not bad. All right, well, let's do what I said we're going to do then. So I'm going to play this, get rid of Memnite. This way they don't get a token back, and I can block Frogmite. Yeah, I'm in for that. And then starting the turn afterwards, I can hold up a combination of Spell Queller, Rattle Chains, Force, and a Moorland Haunt activation. And I will definitely block a Cranial Planing. Oh no, they're just getting a land, okay. So they get Mistvault Bridge, so they have 5 lands, which means they still can't actually play a copy of, oh, they're just not doing anything with that. All right. Well, I guess I'll just tap this then. 1, 2. So I need to worry about a Thought Monitor. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of the Frogmite since I, well, can. And at least now they need to come up with... Oh, no, never mind. I can just tap out. Never mind. I was going to say they need to come up with 1 more mana to play the Thought Monitor, but no, they don't. They can just cast it. At the very least, if their play is Thought Monitor, Frogmite is fine, I guess. I can't do anything about that. A Cranial Plating, absolutely not allowed. So you are going to get to have a 5/5, which I can't do anything about. But Cranial Plating is boo. And they have Urza Saga. You got it. So let's tap down the Frogmite. They can attack me for 5, but then I get to come back and attack for a little bit exactly once. Now the Urza Saga is a little bit scary, though. Nope, not even going to bother. Okay. We draw a Mausoleum Wanderer. If I'm being completely honest, that's not great. So how do I get out of this? Because Affinity's never been a match that I wanted to see with this deck. So now there's the Thought Monitor I was scared of earlier. Can't do anything about that, which sucks. Here, if they don't cast a spell, I will counter that. So I'm really doing this because I honestly do just need to be able to get rid of just about any spell they have, because otherwise I'm going to get 0 value out of Spell Queller. And I already plan on just using Spell Queller at end of turn anyway. So let's see if they attack here. Looks like they will finally start attacking. Okay. And I'm not going to, I think, make any blocks here. No, I'm going to block here. And then before damage here, I get to tap my Skyclaves to tap down the Thought Monitor, give my Flyers leeway to attack again. And they get a 0/0, so my Moorland Haunt is actually productive here too. So if I draw another untapped land, I can play Mausoleum Wanderer and hold up... Okay. It's better than most other options I have access to. So I can at least get rid of the Frogmite. God, what do I do about a Shadow Spear? Yeah, I think we're still not long for the world, because like this can go get Shadow Spear can go on to this, and starting next turn, I guess I do get to just go ahead and what am I thinking? I get to, at the very least, hold up 2 mana so that I can pay for ward when I start tapping this down. But I still have to take the initial hit. That's not the end of the world. And at least for now, we got rid of all of their onboard threats. So, like, or rather, 3 of their other onboard threats, nowhere near all of their onboard threats. So here's a construct that's like an 8/8 or some nonsense. Yeah, it's going to be an 8/8. But at least one of their threats can be Shadow Speared. The other threat I can still handle with Moorland Haunt-ish. But I need more lands to facilitate that. So let's see what I can do. A Thoughtcast 2. Yikes. And a Sojourner's Companion. I think we have paced ourselves out of this game, y'all. Let's move on to game 2. So we're fairly dead here. So against Affinity, what do I want? That is, wow, multiple weeks old. Let's hide this. Let's turn me the right way. I also got to figure out why it keeps doing that, but oh well. I'll get there later. So let's... On the play, I want Solitudes for sure. I also want Lavinia's. I can't cast non-creature spells with mana value greater, so that stops exactly Thoughtcast, and that's it. Never mind, come back out. Wait a minute. Cast a spell if no mana. Alright, yeah, I'm in for that still. So it doesn't stop Thought Monitor, but it does counterspell Frogmites that are free. It counterspells Sojourner's Companions that are free, and it at least delays Thoughtcast, so that's not nothing. Do I want Chalice on 0? No. Since Mox Opal's not legal, I don't believe that actually matters. Subtlety might be a bit of a reach. Don't really want these. Don't think I need these. And I would rather have subtleties than forces, I think. Let's think about that. Yeah, alright. Like, yeah, I think I'm in for that. So let's try again. Oh, my Lanta. Alright. That is a lot better. So let's keep this, get rid of one of these. And I will still go ahead and get a Hallowed Fountain here. Yes, I'd like to pay 2 life. Or more to the point, no, I would not like to pay the 2 life, but I acknowledge that it happens. That's a little bit more accurate there. Right, so we're doing nothing there. So let's tick up here. Basic Plains is not what I wanted, but let's go ahead and play it anyway. So at least we get to do this. And like I said, at least like Thoughtcast is a bit delayed. It doesn't really stop a lot of their other plays, like Patchwork Automaton is still going to happen here. Yeah. So there's nothing I'm doing about that. But let's... Bruh. And there's really no universe in which I'm blocking this thing. So let's attack. Let's name Spirit. And yeah. Let's draw fewer lands and more threats, please, deck. So I can at the very least like cast my Solitude on something else soon too. Like that'll be pretty nice. Oh, my Lanta, they have 2. Welp. That's not going to be fun to deal with. So if I draw a Skyclave here, I can at least vial the Skyclave in, pay the ward, and get rid of the big one and start from there. Like, that's certainly not nothing. A Drug Skull Captain. I don't think I hate that, actually. So let's... Do I have 2 white lands? I do have 2 white lands. So here I will... I don't want to name Elemental because I want to. All right, so my opponent in chat just says, "Bro, let me know the truth. Are you running Hercule's Recall?" um, I'm gonna name Soldier. So Soldier gives me another Lavinia, but also Drogskull Captain happens to be a soldier. Um, there. Let's mess with him. So we know that Kataki's not in our list today, but that doesn't mean I can't mess with him and say it. So it said, no, we're not playing Hercule's Recall, which is the truth, but Kataki is a spirit, so there's that. So if they play around Kataki a little bit, then, you know, maybe you get a free one every now and then. But they have 3 artifacts here. Oh, they just have a 3rd patchwork? Yikes. Okay, so if they start attacking with these... Oh, ha! That gets countered. They... Granted, oh, it's cast, not even enters the battlefield? Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Come on. Why? Oh my god, we just get nothing. Alright. Do I trade both of my things for one of these patchworks? I think I actually have to. That is awful. That feels so bad. Oh my, I can't believe it's cast. Fire design is some BS. All right. All right. Well, so here I'm going to take my vials up to 4 and 2 with the intention to eventually vial in Solitude. That's terrible, but it is a play. I'm at 12, which is also important. So, God. That was almost so good, too, because, like, having Lavinia counter to 2 Frogmites actually was pretty big. Because, like, if I didn't have Lavinia, then we'd just be getting... Oh, and Thoughtcast. Jeez. All right. So Lavinia did a lot. And a Memnite. So Lavinia's done a ton of work here. It just, unfortunately for us, didn't really matter. So I think I have to take this, go to 2, and then really just cross my fingers? Is that where we're at in life? I think so. Wow. All right. And I can't even complain about what's in the opponent's deck, right? Because, that's what the cards are there for. They're there to be drawn. So what I want here is Violon 3, Violon 5. My ideal draw here is exactly a Skyclave Apparition, so that I can pay for ward on both automatons to get rid of both threats. A Supreme Phantom is not really it. So I am still going to play it, of course, because it's what I have. But this isn't the worst. All right. So what I can do here is let them attack all, Vial in Solitude, targeting this Patchwork Automaton, double block the other, take 1, and I will still end up with a couple of threats. So Urza Saga, also annoying, but that is a problem for later, Dre. What are we doing now? Damn it, they have a cranial plating. Okay. And a Thought Monitor. So I can no longer double block this safely? Come on, give me a break. So we were really never in this game is what we're getting at here? Understood. Absolutely never in this game. Not even once. Got it. Yeah. Yeah, alright, I'm off it. So that's unfortunate. So we start off the gates immediately with an absolute dogshit matchup, which we at least had some game against, though, right? Like, we had the cards really to kind of help there. And yeah, sure, that would have been a lot better if Kataki actually was in our deck. But as we saw with the meta report, there's not really enough affinity in the format to justify Kataki. But when it comes up, it comes up. So, whatever. Sometimes you just kind of get your ass kicked. But I still appreciate the fact that we did have a lot of game there. Yeah, and opponents like Cavern on Soldier, WTF, so what I was typing is I told him, I'm like, you literally saw Lavinia and Drogskull Captain, they're both soldiers. So, whatever. That's not really something I expect too many people to be paying attention to, though. So let's see if we can draw something that's at least a little more reasonable for us in this next round. So let's slide back over to Modern Meta while we're looking for a match here. Where's Affinity? Here we go. Yeah, about 1.5% here. And yeah, there's just like a lot of applicable targets for the Lavinia, which is why we wanted it, right? Like they have 4 0 drops here each. They have Frogmite, Sojourner's Companion. This isn't slowed down at all, but like the Thoughtcast is slowed. That's a little slowed. Yeah, all right. I'm happy with the choice we made there. And our hand is, ugh. I would prefer something a little more stable here, but... Oh, we're on the draw. Alright, go away. That is a lot better. So here I want to get rid of Shacklegeist. So let's see what our opponent comes up with here. Sacred Foundry. Are we playing against Burn? If we are, their hand's not good. So let's do this and see what, in fact, we're playing against here. So if this is Burn with just like Eidolon as their draw, then I'm mostly okay with that. And I think, oh, what? All right. So we get to tick this up. Definitely not pay 2 mana or damage for this. And now we get to see what they start doing at the end of our turns. Like they can start firing off like Boros Charms and stuff, and can't really do too much about that. So let's see if they want to also cast spells during their turn. So there, in fact, is a Boros Charm. We go to 16. But I'm not going to give you the luxury, opponent, of automatically killing our stuff. At least not for free. So 3 mana is a Rift Bolt. Got it. So let's do this. See what we draw here. A Shacklegeist. That is actually a card I don't mind because I can use the Shacklegeist almost as bait for a spell here. If, for example, they want to play like the Rift Bolt targeting the Shacklegeist, I'm completely fine with that. And I can still violin the Supreme Phantom too. So this turn, I'm not worried about a Searing Blaze because they don't have any fetch lands in play. So if they just want to, like, I don't know, Boros Charm my face again or draw a card even, I'm mostly okay with those, even if I don't necessarily want to see Skullcrack. Yeah, sure. And that goes in that same list of things that I'm mostly okay with. So Rift Bolt will probably go to my face. It does, in fact, go towards my face. Okay. Excuse me. So if they play really anything during their own turn here, I don't mind using the Force Negation, pitching Kira, because I want my Vial on 3 to be for these 2 cards anyway. This specifically for Eidolon, and this for, honestly, just about anything. A Searing Blaze. Okay. So let's do exactly what we said we wanted to do earlier and get rid of the Kira for that. And if they have another one, then so be it. But we gave ourselves the best chance to be able to play around that, which was important. So If they do play another one, then yeah, I cry about that, but at least we can... Ugh, they did have to. Gross. Alright, well, I can't do anything about that. So let's put in Supreme Phantom now. We're at 7. And from here, we can tick up the vial, give ourselves access to Spell Queller, and just kind of go from there. Spell Queller with only one more card in their hand, never mind this, is something I certainly don't mind. Mausoleum Wanderer's actively great. Haha! Turns are tabling something, something. Alright, so what do we got? There's an Eidolon. Don't really care about that. Because we have the Skyclave Apparition and a bunch of mana here, I'm sorry, a bunch of mana here in my Aether Vial, I really am not concerned with this. I am going to get rid of it anyway for the sake of just like using my turns effectively here. I don't want to give them too many turns to start drawing cards. But I can do this, protect myself with the Wanderer still, and now I've got Spell Queller and Wanderer with no threats on their board. This is pretty much exactly what I want. And Rattlechains is also actively pretty good. I'm only going to attack with these two, take them down to 11. And really, let's just see what happens from here. My best guess is that they're just going to draw a card here. Oh no, they're going to do nothing. So they have another 2-drop in hand and are trying to draw a 2-drop? That's probably most accurate. 2 more draw lands is a little annoying / scary. But if they start playing spells now, Skewer the Critics target my Skyclave Apparition first. Alright, that means I get to Rattlechains it. That is really good for me. I don't like that choice from my opponent. Yeah, alright, sick, they're off it. So now I get to put in my Burns and Forge Tenders and my Solitudes. I want the other Force and Negation here, and Lavinia can randomly snipe, like, Rift Bolts that are on the stack, which is okay. Cards that I don't really want. I don't really want the Drogskull Captains, and Shacklegeists are kind of mid. I don't really want the last one either. I think I want the first Lavinia before another Shacklegeist. Yeah. So Lavinia is good for a couple of reasons. First, she's blue and white, which is good for when I'm boarding in Solitudes. If I'm going to be boarding out Drogskull Captains, I don't want to be boarding out all my white cards, right? And then Shacklegeist is actively kind of bad against burn. But I don't think I want Lavinia enough to want 2 of them. Yeah, alright, I'm in. So this can get a little awkward here since I do plan on using the Moorland Haunt as the mana for my Aether Vial, right? Like, I don't want to take damage from my lands if I don't have to. But, like, Solitude to get rid of Monastery Swiftspear in a pinch is not the worst thing that has ever been done in the history of the universe. It's not good, but it could be a lot worse. If they play an Eidolon here, I can also reason playing a Lava Spike. You got it. If they play another sorcery spell here, then I think it's actually worth my time to get rid of this. Yeah, I think I do like doing that. So I'll be at 13 with 3 cards in her hand, and when one of those is Mausoleum Wanderer, that's not the end of the world. It's still not great because I still need more cards in my hand to be able to participate, really. But, like, oh, that counts. All right. I will pay the 2 here because I can Violin to Wanderer, untap, Violin the other Supreme Phantom, and go from there. So if they want to, like, land Searing Blaze, that's not going to work, which is nice. Okay. It looks like that is what they're going to try, so let's Violin my Mausoleum Wanderer now. and then pay 2 for that spell. All right, cool. So if this is going to be like, I don't know, a bolt or something here, I guess I'm okay with that. A Goblin Guide, that's fine. I don't care about that at all. So if I draw an untapped source that is not Hallow Fountain, I can also start using my Moorland Haunt. So like that's kind of lovely if I get that to happen. So let's put that on 2. It is okay. Okay, Magic the Gathering, I see you. So I'm just gonna make these 2/4s now, and I'm not gonna use the Moorland Haunt yet because I do want them to potentially think that they're gonna get their attack through. So if they spend like 1, maybe 2 spells here, then I don't appreciate it, but I will still have play. Smash Smithereens kind of sucks, okay, but at least they still can't attack. Okay, so they have 1 card left. I'm at 8, which means they do need another card on the table, and I'm sorry, they need at least 2 more real cards here. I want to attack with just these 2. So they take 5, they go to 13. I can play my land tapped. And this turn I can still use my Moorland Haunt. I like that. Okay, good. And I was scared at end of turn of them just having like burn spell for my face, right? Like if this, oh, nothing, okay. Ooh, do I even want to use my haunt here? I think the answer is still yes. So I do need to specifically draw something that deals with a spell now. And like this can just be like a Skullcrack, a Boros Charm, really whatever. Yeah. So I go to 1. And I've got 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So another Supreme Phantom does it. That does not. But what I can do here is at least play my Kira. Playing Kira gives me the out to Searing Blaze. And I want to just attack with these. Because it's already a 2-turn clock, right? So like it doesn't matter which 2-turn clock I make use of. But in the really weird scenario where they somehow get through a bunch of blockers or whatever, I can at least have 2 different blockers. So if they drew, I really hope they just drew a land, right? The Goldfish, nice GG. Okay, opponent says GG. Sick. So let's do it again. But yeah, so Kira playing around Searing Blaze off the top is honestly really nice. And the Smash of Smithereens was a little annoying, but like that's not the end of the world. But that deck can just get moving really, really, really fast. And even if you have a little interaction, it's sometimes just like not enough. So let's be on the play here, and I'm in for this. So let's basic Plains here. Because like I don't need help with my mana really at all. So having Giver into Giver helps a lot against any of like the Unholy Heat decks. And it also gives me a little bit of insurance against Rags, which is especially nice. So let's see what our opponent's playing. Being on the play with a Spell Queller is also pretty nice with Cavernous Souls against the Cascade decks. So what are we fighting? I actually kind of want to draw a Vial off the top, because I can play both Giver and a Vial. I like that. Arid Mesa. Okay. Steam Vents. Are we playing against Murktide now? Okay. So they bolt the Giver. Joke's on you. So if this is going to be just like Murktide deck, then I'll be pretty glad to just like unconditionally resolve my Kira with a Cavern of Souls, since that's just really freaking good against them. Um, like, I don't really have a better way to say that. It's just absolutely absurd against them. And if it's something else, then I probably still want Kira depending on what they're playing. Oh, Blood Crypt. Are we on Death Shadow? Thoughtseize. Yes, we are. Cool. So they can take the Skyclave, which is annoying. They can take Kira. All three of these cards kind of annoy the living shit out of them. Like, they don't really want to see any of these. And I'm hoping that they don't have another Bolt or Unholy Heat for this. So they get rid of the Skyclave Apparition, which means they're definitely playing Death Shadow. And I'm going to get to untap with this Giver, which is nice. All right, so they have seen Kira, so I'm not going to pretend to hide from that. I'm literally just going to jam Kira down their throat and make them deal with it. And if next turn they just have, like, I don't know, an Expressive Iteration turn, that's actually fine. And since I have this on the table and this, I'm actually going to hold back Giver of Runes in case they try to dash Rags. If so, I will block with Giver of Runes. And if that's not what happens, then I can still just, like, start attacking for 2 at a time and then Spell Queller things. I'm okay with that. They can play a Death Shadow that's a 1/1 right now. Without my Skyclave Apparition, I'm a little worried about that, but not, like, ultra worried, you know? And if... yeah, I don't know. They can play a bunch of stuff. Let's just wait to see what happens. Prismari Command. Drop 2, draw 2, and a treasure token. So, are we instead just Archon of Cruelty? That's what we're doing today. Well, that sucks. I hope they don't have Persist. That's not a bad draw for next turn. So here I'm going to name Spirit. Let's go ahead and get an attack in. Honestly, I should have attacked with this too. No, I'll still play around the Rags. So now what happens? If they make another treasure token and creativity for 2, I can't do much about that. A Persist, they know that I can counter since I have the Spell Queller. So I guess I really just want... what? A land is nice because it lets me play the Supreme Phantom and hold up the Queller. A Moorland Haunt is even better since I can hold up Queller and activate more threats. Another Queller is good off the top as well because they can play around 1, but if I have 2, then that's perfect. And this, now that I know what they're playing, though, I might regret not actually attacking with the Giver of Runes, too. Since they're at 10 and not 8, that is technically 1 attack shorter with the Supreme Phantom in play. Unless they shock now. Okay. Oh, you know what? That means they must have creativity, because what I think they were looking at there is... because they took a while to decide whether to shock this, right? So I think what they were looking at was one of my creatures, because you can creativity for 2 targets, one of yours and one of mine, but if you target one of mine, then the entire spell gets countered. So I think that's what just happened there. And since they're at 10, I don't think I want to put in Supreme Phantom right, or spell... okay. So it's not the Moorland Haunt I asked for, but it still helps. So now I get to go ahead and attack for 4 here. Take them down to 6. And I can still counterspell either a Transmogrify or a Prismari Command here. Tainted Indulgence, you can have that. Getting rid of Spell Pierce. That makes sense. Spell Pierce has really no job here. So They can... Oh, God, they can just get a Dwarven Mine. Whoops. Oh, well. I don't think I should have countered Tainted Indulgence anyway. Um... Oh, man. Yeah... I still don't think I had... Ugh, this might just have been one of those games where I just, like, was just never gonna have it, right? Because now they can just, like, creativity, the token, and the treasure token. And I don't think I had outs there. Shit. Yeah. Alright. Fine. Humph. Unfortunate. So, against them, I want the Force. I kind of want this... Do these do anything? No, those don't do anything. This technically counters a lot of the removal, and I think I want those more than I want Skyclaves. So, like, I can put Chalice on one, and that's still okay against, like, the Bolt, Thoughtseize, Spell Pierce part of their deck. Not that Spell Pierce is too much of a thing, but I still have Force and Negations that they can Spell Pierce. So, yeah, alright. And Skyclave is, like, actively kind of terrible against the Grixis versions. If they were playing the 4-color version with Ren and 6, then Skyclave's a little better, but that's not what we're playing against, looks like. So, yeah. Alright. Yeah. Awkward. Um... Alright, so what's the ideal scenario here? Turn 1 Vial. Turn 2, draw land or play second Vial. Then start putting creatures in. How does that help against what they're doing? I can draw Force. No, I am going to keep this. Because, like, I already don't have a spell that I actually want in hand anyway. So, the fact that the Chalice of the Void on Thoughtseize blocks them from fucking with any spells that I could draw in the future is actually helpful because, like, the spells that I do want in the future come off of the Aether Vial anyway. And I don't want them getting rid of, like, my forces or my... Well, I don't really want that. I don't really want them getting rid of my forces or any future spell quellers I draw anyway. So the fact that a Chalice on 1 can help with that is actually kind of useful. Alright. So let's put a Vial on 1 and a Vial on 2. Okay, magic. But I think that's actually, like, still okay, because here what I'm going to do is, I guess, put in a Rattle Chains. Okay. Are you just, like, a Tainted Indulgence? You are. Okay. So if they have just, like, a Persist, then I'm just dead to that anyway. So it's kind of irrelevant to everything else if they just have a Persist. Okay. If they have a Prismari command killing one of these, then I'm just ultra sad times. A Fable. So that sucks, but I already don't have the problem of Persist solved anyway, so I guess fuck it. So now, let's draw a Queller or a Force would be nice. Vial on 3, Vial on 2. A land is actually kind of helpful. So a Supreme Phantom here at least helps to establish, like, a clock. Again, I think that's better than Chalice in this specific spot because I'm already not solving the problem with their spells anyway. So I might as well just be an aggro deck. So you take 4, you go to 12, and for what it's worth, I am showing lethal next turn. So if they happen to have the entire thing this turn, then I can't really do anything about that. Um, the downside is that they do know I don't have Spell Queller. So that sucks. In theory, I could still have Force and Negation, but we know I don't have that. They don't know I don't have that. And I still think developing my threats is a little better than playing the Chalice. Maybe that's wrong. Brutality and Transmogrify. Okay. Okay, so looks like they are going to attack here, so I will block with Supreme Phantom. That helps to play around a Prismari command, getting rid of Drogskull Captain. But they do get to just, like, do this and I guess have another token ready. So let's see what happens here. If they point a removal spell here, then I'm pretty happy because it gets a Rattle Chains untap, attack for a bunch. Pyroclasm. Fuck me, are you serious? You have 2 Pyroclasms? I guess. Alright. Oh my god. Actual Pyroclasm, come on. God. This is like the epitome of not my day, right? Alright, let's see if you also have like a Bolt or something, and I'm just gonna feel really stupid for not having played the, Oh no, I'm gonna get Prismari commanded here, aren't I? Oh my god, are you... Okay. Wow, Andre, okay. What can I draw here? I guess I want to draw a Spell Queller? No. And no. A Force of Negation is not nothing. Man, I'm still mad about that Pyroclasm. Alright, so at least I have Force, but like... So, yeah, I was gonna say, but if this is just like get a Dwarf token, untap, and then Transmogrify it to... I'm sorry, Creativity for 2, then like I have to Force just to not die, which absolutely blows. Hmm. Okay. If they attack, I will happily block. Dang. Alright. So let's do this, and I'm still really crossing my fingers for no copies of Prismari command here. Alright. So we didn't get Prismari commanded, which is nice. And we are done ticking these up, so we'll just keep them on 3 and 2 and then see what happens from there. A land would actually be pretty nice so that I can... Okay, thank you. Name Spirit. So I can at least hardcast Force and Negation to get rid of the creativity itself. But, like, I'm still really worried about Prismari Command here. And now I'm actually a little salty. So let's go ahead and look up the creativity list, like, because I'm actually curious, like, should I have known to play around that? Oh, fuck, they had it. Come on. No breaks, huh? All right, well, I guess we're just gonna get got by the combo now because I'm empty-handed. So, but I'm not winning the game with no threats. So, like a rock in a hard place. They didn't make another dwarf token. I'm surprised by that. Oh well. So I guess I'm gonna hover over the concede button just in case they do have the creativity, because that's basically what's gonna happen here. And if they don't have it, then I guess I get to untap and really cross my fingers. Oh, we're just attacking. That's really good for me. Can this continue to be okay? They have 5 cards in hand, though, so I'm thinking no. What is this? Oh, they just... Okay. Alright, well, that's enough of that. Jeez, absolutely got our shit rocked. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things where instead of the forces that are in this list, like I could go back to playing like the Thalias that I've been playing for a while. Because like she's good against burn, she's good against creativity. And what was the other thing that we played against in round 1? I don't even remember. What the hell did... Oh, affinity. Never mind. There was nothing to do about affinity. We were just losing to that. All right. So we're going to be on the draw for this matchup. Let's see what happens here. Another one-lander. Come on. That's a lot better. So let's do this, get rid of a Flooded Strand, and see what happens with this opponent here. Tron. Okay. So now that we know we're playing against Tron, I will be a little happy about the, I guess, Spellqueller Skyclave if they are playing like a Karn-based game. If they have it exactly on their turn 3, though, that really... Oh! Eldrazi Tron. Oh. Huh. I haven't seen you in a while. Alright, well, that's actually good for us, because that means that the soonest they can play Karn will be after I have the ability to play Spellqueller. Assuming, of course, I actually, get to actually have my 3rd land drop here. So I'm going to grab a white land, because I do want to be able to cast Skyclave Apparition if I draw another land. And now let's establish a threat. Are you going to get an Eldrazi Temple or a Tron land? Urza's mine. Okay. So let's have them do that. They can hold this up for a construct, but like, I don't really care about the constructs. So let's just put this into play. Draw a land, please. That'd be lovely. To be fair, that is on me for putting one back. Okay. Cry about that. So now, if their draw is like a Karn, then I'm not going to be able to activate a Vial. Which also means that if I end up drawing a non-land card, I also can't get rid of Karn because I can't, Skyclave if there's a Karn with these. So, like, that's pretty annoying. But I still don't know that I was supposed to put that other land back. Whatever. Cry about it later. So, are we making a construct? Are we making a mana and casting something? This could get an expedition map, a shadow spear. There's a lot of things that this saga could actually get. If they have a temple... I guess my worst case scenario is that this is an Urza's Tower. They're making a mana. Okay. And they get Expedition Map. Okay, so that means that they're going to be able to pop this and have 5 mana with the tower. And that is what happens here. So they have 5 mana. Are they going to play Karn or something else? Sorceress Spyglass. Why would you play Sorcerer's Spyglass in your Expedition map? I'm sorry, in your Urza Saga deck. You can just play Pithing Needle. What? Why? I am very confused by that choice. So the end result for me is mostly the same, but that's... Aha. Spellskite to protect the spyglass. I guess you got it. So I will take this attack for 3 and cry about that. But, like, if that was the plan, why would you just not have actual Pithing Needle in your deck that you can fetch for? That choice seems a little, oh, of course. Choice seems a little scuffed to me, if you ask me, but alright, whatever. Let's get the attack in that we can. Cry about our hand of only 3 drops. And now if they just play like Land Ugin, we're super boned. They have 9 mana currently. Mystic Forge. Well, can't spell Queller. You got it. Oh, I'm so mad. So they still have 5 mana to play a bunch of shit off the top of their deck. Yeah, that's pretty good. Inventor's Fair. Enters the Exile Zone. Okay. Serum Powder. So now they have 3 mana again. Another Serum Powder. Okay. So as far as turns go, it could have been a lot more dangerous. I do take 6, which I don't necessarily appreciate. Can we draw a land here? No. But we can put them on a 2-turn clock here, which is nice. So there's that at least. So you go down to 7, and then I'm threatening 7 on the way back. So they do still have to deal with all of this. They can just play for artifacts and make me block this. But at least as it stands, I am showing exactly 7. Another Serum Powder, sure thing. So as long as we're not getting up to 10 artifacts, then I don't actually have to block. Ugh. Oh, come on. Please just attack for 7 and be done. Warping Whale to make a token. I don't really care about that at all. Karn. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana to get something with Karn. So what? They can attack and play bridge. That's obnoxious. And then the following turn they can get a Oh, why are we doing that now? Oh well. They have 4 mana. So I guess they can attack and then get bridge. And that's not nothing. Torpor Orb. Okay. Like, yeah, that stops me from being able to use my Skyclave Apparition, but you still have to actually solve the creatures that are on the table. So I will take this. I go to 2. And if their other 4 mana is exactly a Walking Ballista in hand for 2, then I guess I lose to that. But, like, I was never beating a Walking Ballista anyway. Ensnaring Bridge. Okay. But, like, I'm gonna kill the Karn. That stops them from having another Karn. Okay. So I can do this, take them down to 4. And that stops Karn from getting a card and gives them the opportunity to brick for a turn. Okay. So they have to be able to play at least 2 of their cards this turn, which is not a big ask. Um, that lets them just draw a card. I don't think I care about that. Gemstone Caverns. Oh no. Oh, fine. What's this? Oh, it's the Ballista anyway. Okay, they already had the Ballista. Alright, I'm just dead. Alright. Damn, a third mana would have been so good. So, Subtlety is good here. Force is alright. This is pretty good. Cards that are not good. Shacklegeist is pretty bad. And Kira is a card I don't care about in this matchup. This is not great. Yeah. Like, Giver of Runes can protect against Dismember and the other card, Warping Whale, but like, I don't know that I care about that enough. Rather than keeping in like a blue card for Force and just like a card that's naturally immune to the Warping Whale anyway. Yeah, I think that's a little better. Hey, Carlos, how you doing? So Carlos, if you're just getting in here, what we're doing now is playing through a league. We're on match 4 of our league, and if I'm being completely honest, it's not going super well. But that's okay. Stuff has happened, and we have fought quite a bit of bad draws, and then like a couple of things that were just matchups that we're just like never winning. Oh, cool. So they have their Gemstone Caverns. And before that, we played some Standard, and our Standard games went hilariously well. We played Mono Blue, and you are on YouTube, so you can actually check out the deck list for the Standard deck in the video description. And yeah, that went really well. All right, so starting next turn, they can go ahead and make constructs here. Sorceress Spyglass. I will get rid of Shacklegeist to get rid of that. I still think that's really bad when you just have the option of being able to play Pithing Needle that you can get with your Urza Saga. But hey, I'm the one who took the game down, so I'm in no place to talk shit, right? And we did not draw another land. Sad times all around. Okay. And what's this? Torpor Orb. Boy, alright. Well, this sucks. So now I'm just not gonna really get to use my Skyclave Apparition at all, really? So I'm gonna do this, and at least get my attack for 2 in where I can. So Drogskull Captain still does a lot. Skyclave Apparition unfortunately does nothing now. So if they just like have an Ensnaring Bridge or something later, then I'm just not going to get to do anything about that, which is pretty sad times. Are you... Oh, we're making a mana, not a construct, which means I'm probably getting Karned here. Oh, Expedition Map, okay. What does that do for you right now? Unless you're literally just trying to make a land drop. You can get a Tron land to make this better, and that is what's going to happen here. Okay, Spellskite? Yes. Okay. So, Spellskite's not my favorite from them, but, like, I can still draw land, play Skyclave just as a 3/3. I could also not. Alright. Good lord. And what did they get? They got the power plant, right? Blue land. Alright, looks like we're looking to activate Spellskite with the blue lands, and another Torpor Orb. All right, so we're playing poker. We got 2 pair, understood. So first I'm going to Violin the Skyclave. It doesn't do anything anyway, so I might as well prepare to have it be a 4/4 beater with Drogskull Captain. Um, so I am done ticking you up. Oh, I didn't click no. Actually kind of helpful-ish, because at least I can play my spells now. So let's play this. Again, aware that it's useless, but I can at least do this and get rid of one of the spell skites with Viling and the Drogskull Captain. So that at least does something, right? Like they take 5, they go down to 10, their spell skite 1 is gone, which means the rest of this does present a lethal attack, right? Like they have 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to deal with. Okay. All right. And it looks like we're going to get to go to a game 3, I think. Oh, yeah, they're empty-handed. Yeah, sick. Oh, that's cool. Sometimes your aggro deck is just an aggro deck. I'm in for that. So that was all right. And do I want to change anything here? I think the answer on the draw... might still be no, but let's double check that real quick. Shackle Guys Curious. No. I'm just going to resubmit. So I do still like keeping the Shacklegeist in as blue cards, and that even came up in this last game, right? Like, this is fine. Yeah, like Shacklegeist as a blue card was still good enough. Exile with that. Oh, yeah, alright. I guess that was kind of bad. They are playing Dismembers, which gives my argument for what you call it earlier, okay. So I'm going to keep these. So the unfortunate part about all of these cards here is that the artifacts, like Ensnaring Bridge, are not actually useless, because remember, Karn, Great Creator, can pull cards out of exile. The good part about this, though, is that they have 1 fewer Karn actually in their deck. So our opponent's taking a mulligan, which is nice for us, of course. They're going all the way down to 5. Downside is that, well, they're playing fucking Tron. So sometimes even that still just, like, doesn't matter. But they're not playing just, like, true green Tron, which means that a lot of this might still just be okay. A Cavern is actually kind of useful here because it turns on my Spell Queller for turn 3. So here I can just go, like, Mausoleum Wanderer, Supreme Phantom Spell Queller, and that's, like, a good enough curve on its own. Downside of this mana base here is that I don't actually care about countering their spells. So, Spell Skite does not matter. Okay. Do I want to just turn on that clock, or do I want to turn on an early Aether Vial playing for, like, turn 4 or 5? I think I want to actively turn on a clock and make this their problem. So what can I do nothing about? I can't do anything about cards named Ensnaring Bridge or... oh, 3 power plants. Eek. Okay, so that is annoying. But I can still draw a Skyclave Apparition to deal with that / this. But I have to draw both of those things. So I guess I'm just going to do this, get the attack in that I can get, and at least relish in the fact that they can only play, like, 1 card a turn currently, hoping to draw a Skyclave Apparition and make their life total low enough for that to be, like, part of a relevant attack. If this is a Karn, a Mystic Forge, I'll be happy to get rid of that. So I can at least still attack for 3 currently. But we got some work to do, because that bridge still sucks. Don't really want that. Okay. So let's attack for the one that I can. Play one of the vials. Play a Shacklegeist. And be sad that one of those wasn't like a force. Serum powder, okay. And now everything is in play, which also turns off my oh, what am I thinking? My Skyclave apparition because they have the Torpor Orb now. Great. So how do we participate here? Don't really want that. Hmm. And Inventor's Fair can get really anything they want now, right? They have Metalcraft, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Um, ugh. Right, like pay 5 with Metalcraft, yeah. Okay. Yeah, we got a lot of work to do. Okay, so they're just going to go and grab something now. Probably another bridge. It is another bridge, yeah. Which does make sense. Yep, there's the other bridge. All right. So let's put a vial on 2 and a vial on 3. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't really think I have outs anymore. Matter of fact, let's not waste our opponent's time. Do I literally have anything else to do with a Giver of Runes? I'm sorry, with a no, this game is actually oh no, Otawara. I can Otawara and Skyclave Apparition. Okay. So what I can do here then is if I draw exactly Otawara, Otawara can get rid of Torpor Orb, and then I can use that to untap and get rid of Spellskite plus Bridges, but that takes a lot. Like, it is a lot, but it is still an out that I have available, so I'll at least play to it. Like, realistically, there's a close to no chance that I actually get to do all of that. Since they have 2 bridges, and I have to find 3 cards at least. Odd. So this is not quite garbage time, but it's really getting there. But also, I'm curious as to what they get now with Urza Saga. Is it just like another expedition map, maybe? Like, they can do that and get the mine, and then they'll have a crap ton of mana again. It is an expedition map, okay. Another Torpor Orb. Come on. How many do you have in your deck? And then they have at least 3 bridges as well, because one's in exile still? Jeez, like, I mean, it's working well against me, but I'm actually confused about that deck construction now. Because, like, what are you trying to beat with that setup? Unless, like, I don't know, like you lost to somebody playing Spirits a few years ago, and yeah, like, what choices led to that deck's construction? Spell Queller. Well, unfortunately, thanks to the Torpor Orbs being in play, that doesn't do anything. So, we're still digging. But now they have 2 Torpor Orbs and 2 Ensnaring Bridges. So, like... No, I'm going to go ahead and pack it up here because, like, the likelihood of me having all of those things before they draw 1 Karn is pretty close to 0. And I don't want to sit here for the next 20 minutes playing for that. So, I'll just be sad about being 1 and 3 and keep it moving. So, hopefully we can salvage this last round. But, man, that was a hot mess. But yeah, 2 Torpor Orbs and 3 Bridges. And if they're playing the 2 Torpor Orbs in the main deck, since they have Karn, that means they have at least 1 more in the board too. That's a lot. Like, I don't know, maybe somebody in here plays Modern a lot more than I do, and can tell me, I guess, some insight as to what that configuration is really for. This is terrible. Okay. So let's get rid of this. And this is a lot better. So I will keep this and get rid of... I actually think it's the Rattle Chains. Yeah, because everything else... Okay, so Giver protects the Shacklegeist, and then Kira protects everything else if I get to turn 3 anyway. So let's see what our opponent's doing here. Sacred Foundry. Are we Burn? We are playing Burn again, okay. And a Drug Skull Captain's on top, okay. So if this is going to be a... I thought I yielded through this turn. A Searing Blaze, and that really sucks. Honestly, this hand really sucks against Burn. Who am I kidding? So what can I draw? Mausoleum Wanderers on top of the deck, okay. So if they have Searing Blaze, I guess they kind of have to do it now anyway, because if I untap with Mausoleum Wanderer, then it's not an option anymore. But if this is just like an Eidolon, then that really sucks. What are we doing? Exiling Riftbolt. Okay. Is my Giver of Runes still dying? Riftbolt my... or Lava Spike my face, rather. Alright, so I've got a Riftbolt coming off of Suspend here. So let's see where that goes before doing anything. Targeting my face, you got it. Can't do anything about that. So let's see if we go to attack here. They have 2 cards left. We are attacking. Okay. So let's see what's on top of my deck. Hopefully it's a land. Boros Charm, my face. All right. So I will do this with the fetch land on the stack, I guess. Or rather, with the fetch land here. Pro red. Not a land, it's a Rattle Chains. Okay. So unfortunately, I'm not going to get to really make use of like the Skyclave Apparition or Drogskull or anything here. Um, so I think what I want to do is... Do I attack? Because I can just tap down this, but if I... No, I don't attack. Because if I do attack, tap down this ability, with the plan to use Shacklegeist here, then they can actually just do this and bolt here. So I really shouldn't do that. But I am going to tap this on my upkeep, I believe. No, I'll wait. Because if I do this now, then they can just play like a Swift Spear, and that's not really much different for me. And if I have to choose between Swift Spear attacking and this attacking, I would rather have this attack for the possibility of drawing a land. Or they just have another Goblin Guide, okay? So I think what I want to do here then is let a double block happen. Spell Queller. All right. So I want to double block and then give the Mausoleum Wanderer pro red. Since they have one card left in hand, I can still counterspell a Boros Charm. I won't be happy, obviously, about a Boros Charm happening before damage, but I don't know. But I already don't really think I'm beating that. So let's skewer my face. I go to 1. Okay. And they know I'm drawing a Spell Queller, so I am unfortunately going to be fairly useless here. So I think what I want to do is, again, chill for one more turn here. I can play Rattle Chains to give Mausoleum Wanderer one more power. So if they draw a 2-mana spell, I can respond to it with Rattle Chains, make this a 2/2, and then counter that spell. Not that 2-mana spell. Ah. Alright. So I do these. What am I doing? I literally can't play any more spells. So I guess I'll do this on the off chance that, like, I don't know. Realistically, I don't think I have any draws here. Yeah, that's certainly not it. Um, so what am I hoping for to have happen here? Like, basically, they draw land, they make a mistake, try to attack with Eidolon, and I block it with Rattle Chains? That's not realistic, but I guess I'll give myself a draw step to play towards that. Understood. All right, well, that's not great. So let's forces these cards. Drawing multiple Shacklegeists in the matchup where I complained about Shacklegeist earlier is not exactly great, and I put in one of these before. All right, let's go ahead and play first. And a white land helps a lot. I still have this into this. Okay. So let's do that and then see what happens from there. Like, I still need to draw 2 white sources to play Skyclave, which is pretty obnoxious. What are we doing here? Lava Spike my face, you got it. And we immediately draw another card that we're not casting in 100 years. Oh, this is Not going great, y'all. Not going great. All right. So what happens here? So if it's Searing Blaze, I guess I'll be pretty happy to Mausoleum Wanderer it. If it's an Eidolon, then that sucks, but at least we're way ahead. Yeah. Solitude. That actually is kind of helpful. So what I'm going to do here with the Solitude then is use it to get rid of one of the one of the Skyclave apparitions, and I'll keep it in play for a couple of turns here because I actively want them to take damage from their own Eidolon. So a Searing Blaze still gets countered here, but really trying to progress their game plan at all will hopefully put me into closer to lethal range, and it undoes the life gain that the Solitude will give them. I can get behind that. Lightning Bolt targeting what? Mausoleum Wanderer. Okay. Not a fan of that happening, obviously, but let's see if they have Supreme or Searing Blaze or what. Looks like no. So I'll take that and go to 15. Now, ideally I can draw a white land for this Spell Queller, and it's not a Hallowed Fountain. So that seems pretty ideal. Okay, so now let's do the untap here. Bruh. All right. Oh my god. Why, deck? Why? All right. Lightning Helix. Targeting my face. Okay. Not a huge fan of that happening. So I take this, go to 10, and they're going to try to draw a card in response. I think this is going to be where I Solitude. I don't want to go to 10. I think I like my life total nice and padded pretty high at 12 here. They just have another one, okay. Come on. All right, go to 8. Why? Swiss Spear, okay, so you go to 6, and in theory, I go to 9. Okay, so can I get, like, not a Seacrum Coast and have it be a white land, please? Not a Seacrum Coast. Y'all. I know y'all see this. Alright. I guess I hold back for one turn. I very, very specifically asked for not that. Okay. So I guess I'm going to block the Eidolon here so that I can block the guaranteed source of 2 damage. Like, if they have spells to go with the Monastery Swiss Spear, then I already can't do much about that. And if it's just like a naked Searing Blaze where it's 1-in-1 mode to kill off my Supreme Phantom, then, like, you got me. Like, that would have gotten me with either creature. So, oh, is that exactly what's happening? Uh, okay. This league has been an absolute mess, y'all. Alright. So what can I do here? I can play around exactly everything that is not Boros Charm by putting in Spell Queller as a blocker. The Spell Queller can then block the Monastery's Swiss Spear. Um, yeah. So I do this, I take 2, I go to 4. If they have exactly a copy of Boros Charm, then I get got. If they have almost anything else, then they have to use it to finish a Spell Queller. And I am aware that I'm going to 2 here, but at least this shuts off combat and a spell where, oh, bolt my face. Okay, fine. Oh yeah, I just didn't have an out then. Okay. Yeah, I just didn't have an out. Okay, so yeah, wow, that went poorly. Yeah, so I guess I don't really have much good to say about that experience. Granted, I think a lot of that league does go a lot better if I have Thalia in the deck, but like, and these would be the 3 spots that I would probably use for Thalia, putting the 4th one of these in the board. And yeah, I don't know. Like, it was a lot to do with like opponents actually being able to resolve their spells on time, and a lot of me not being able to do that. So like we ended up having a lot of draws where I wanted the access to like my turn 3 plays on turn 3 and just didn't have them. And we're playing 21 lands, which is I guess the norm now, but we could solve that by either going up to 22 lands or just playing more 2 drops. Like my usual go-to is Thalia. And like Giver of Runes being a copy or 2 of like Spectral Sailor to be a better attacker with Supreme Phantom Drogskull Captain, that could be a thing. So I won't go so far as to say that like I think the deck is hopeless or anything like that. It was more one of those leagues where almost everything that could have gone wrong there kind of did, and it just stinks that it all happened at the same time, right? So yeah, I think my input here is really going to be more that I think I want more of a plan that's good against spells, and Force of Negation, I don't know if I call that good enough. Because like we are already have a lot of the tools. Like we already have the Mausoleum Wanderers and the Spell Quellers and stuff. And that's already good against a lot of things. So what would I do here ideally? I think I like the Kiras. I actually like the Kiras a lot. So I probably do something like this. I that was okay. And then it's like Thalia Guardian, and then like play 3 of these, and then a couple of Spectral Sailors, so that I still have a reasonable number of 1-drops on turn 1. And like that's probably a bit better. Like just playing a giant pile of creatures. Oh, did I not? There we go. Yeah, that's probably still better. And then like Lavinias were really good when they were good. Like Chalices could just continue to be Chalices, or they could be something else. I don't hate Chalices though, and we also didn't play any of the Cascade decks that the Chalices are like specifically for. But I could also play Flusterstorm in this spot. I don't hate that. Right? And then that gives us game against both the Burn decks and the Cascade decks and Creativity. I can get behind that. But then what's Force of Negation really doing in this board? It helps with Renin 6. It helps with, obviously, Teferis. But do I really care about those? I mean, the Renin 6 I do care about if I'm putting Spectral Sailor in. And it's more annoying with Thalia. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think a little more about the board. But like, I'll probably end up going back to this because like the Thalias are. I mean, never mind them just like absolutely being my baby anyway. But oh, you know what I could do? These could be brazen bowers. Hey, hello, Roxy. Oh wow, hey, yeah, of course I remember you. Um, just want to say hi. Maternity leave, new baby, nice, congrats. And yeah, so and you enjoy the rest of your day. The first part of the stream went really well, and then the second part of the stream went pretty poorly. So it's been a bit of balance today, but overall, can't really complain. I still get to play like fun video games all day. But enjoy your time with your newborn. That's amazing. So really, these last two spots would be the ones that I kind of would want to figure out. And they could be like a third fluster plus something. They could be. Oh, what did I just lose track of? Does anybody know what I was just trying to think of? Um, it wasn't Flusterstorm. It wasn't Force and Negation. Oh, what was that last spot in my brain? It was a two of, and it wasn't Rest in Peace or Unlicensed Hearse. It wasn't Aether Gust for prime time. I've got subtleties for that. Solitudes too. Hmm. Oh, Brazen Borrower. That's what it was. So Brazen Borrowers do a few things here, right? Like the petty theft on this helps to solve any of the it helps to solve like saga tokens. It actually helps against Primeval Titan itself. It helps against like the ensnaring bridges that we saw previously. Same with Torpor Orb because you know the spell's not an enter the battlefield effect. So I actually think that might be a card that has a lot of jobs right now. Um, yeah, that might actually be the wave. I don't know that I'm going to try this again today, but I think I'm going to call it for now. And then tomorrow, I should have some time in the afternoon to stream again. And I might try again with this list. I might develop a little bit more of the standard list that we played today and go from there. I'll make a choice and come around to it whenever we decide to do that. But I am going to go ahead and call that a stream. And that, yeah, obviously great times in standard. So everybody, thanks for watching, sticking around. And whoever I see tomorrow, I will look forward to seeing y'all at that point. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.